Tiger is a beast and patch 8.8 is where it happened. The changes that gave it the particular characteristics that define how it plays and how it devours health. It had always been an incredibly accurate heavy tank with best in tier penetration, so that while it may have been outshined when top tier, it was definitely the best tank to have when you were staring at the bottom of a 3-tier spread. But then the 8.8 changes came along. They got rid of the engine power, but gave it better crossing capacity, so that it ended up being slightly more mobile than it originally had been. Much like the 36 before it, fairly fast and decently nimble, but not so well on the hill climbing. But the big changes. They slightly improved the aiming time, and they massively improved the rate of fire. They turned the Tiger into a bullet hose. So the characteristics that define the way that the Tiger plays: it's got a boatload of health, so it can tank with its hit points fairly adequately. It's got really crap armor, but the gun mantlet has a decent chance of stopping shells. The gun has an incredibly high rate of fire, it's incredibly accurate, it's got really good penetration. You can get that reload down to about 5.3 seconds, and the DPM on this just chews through enemy tanks. So the way you're going to want to play the Tiger is to make sure that you are always out-trading your enemy in terms of damage for health. If you can get hull down to minimise the damage you take, that'll be brilliant. You've got a good gun mantlet, and if you can use, a meter or so of dirt to cover the hull, that's about as good armor as you can get. Ideally, you want your opponents to be caught out in the open and unable to escape from your rate of fire. So this means either sniping at them while they're caught out in the open crossing large open expanses, or getting around cover so that they can't back off and use concealment behind solid objects to prevent you from shooting them, and trading shot for shot. That is not the way to win with a Tiger. So be aware of your surroundings. Try to position yourself so you are only trading against one enemy vehicle, because you don't have the armor to block multiple shots with multiple angles. So if you just keep it 1v1 as much as possible, you'll be sweet. And be aware of reload times. Know how long it takes the enemy to get their shots back up and running. You've got about 5.3 to 5.8 seconds of reload to go through, meaning that you can put in 2 or 3 shots for every one that an IS-2 or a KV-3, as you can see here, are able to pull off. And if you can force them to flub a shot while they're flustered, it's all the better for you. The Tiger is commonly advertised as a sniper tank, but that does not mean you sit at the back of the map camping like a bitch. You've got hit points to spend for trading damage, so use your accuracy to pinpoint weak spots. Make sure that the enemy does not come out favourably on the exchange of damage. Just punch in precise, clear, constant and consistent shots. Ensure that the enemy cannot retreat from your unyielding torrent of fire. Take advantage of cover and allies to throw enemy shots off so that you're not taking quite so much damage in return. Just keeps you in the game longer and keeps that gun singing. As much as you can, just limit your exposure and ensure that you're not going to get surrounded and picked apart by multiple opponents. You just don't have the armor for it, and that hit point advantage that you've got, that only works in a 1v1 situation. If you're getting surrounded, if there's multiple guns on you, you are going down. Which is, of course, the mistake that I've just made here. I have gone into the center of a cluster of enemy vehicles when I could have quite easily hugged the K line, taken the right turn instead of the left, and gone where that Crusader SP is at the moment, come up behind the IS while his allies are unable to support him. Fair enough, I'm taking the pressure off the rest of my team by soaking up all this damage that could otherwise be directed at them, but it's still removing me from play, and I had almost all my health before this encounter. I could have cleaned up at the final stages. So, in the course of a 4-minute game where the tank didn't fire until a minute and a half had already expired, the Tiger managed to chew out over 4,000 damage. All because I got in the enemy's face, chased damage, and I didn't sit at the back, sniping at the opportune targets that pop up here and there. The strengths of the Tiger is the massive hit point pool and the incredible rate of fire. Use them to best effect. Trade health with the enemy if it means putting them down, and take advantage of the complacency that people treat the Tiger with. They never see the crouching Tiger coming.